All right. Hey, everybody. We are live here on the YouTubes. Welcome to Live from Not NAMM 2019. I am not at the NAMM show. As you can see, I'm in my studio. And you're probably not at the NAMM show either. If you are and you're watching this, that's just like a weird meta kind of thing. But hey, if you are, welcome. Absolutely. But I wanted to do this. This is just a little live thing. Hey, let me know if you're there, if you can hear me, if you can see me okay, if you can hear the guitar. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's pretty cool sounding. This is the Matoverse inflection point tremolo. I thought I would have kind of a... I've got my pedal board down here, of course, but I thought I would line up, you know, some pedals and maybe have you guys ask me if you want me to play through anything, if you want to hear anything. But I've just been checking this thing out. It's a tremolo vibrato, but it's very unique and got some cool... sort of things to it. There's this space knob. Adds like a reverb to it. It's kind of wild. What is that chord? There it is. I did it. Yes. Turn that off. This is my 2 amps, by the way. Here's just the Supro. Mute the Jackson. This is just the Supro. This is just the Jackson. And then both of them together. I'm loving both of these together. Timeline and Big Sky. Add in that Petty John chime. Hey, oh, I have just gone down. Hey, 3 watching now. I was just, I did not have the right window open. Sorry about that. Hi, people. There's a few of you out there. Say something if you're there. We're a little heavy on that reverb there. Chill out, reverb. Welcome, everyone. Hey, glad you guys are here. There's a few of you coming in. I thought, you know, this year I really wanted to go to the NAMM show, but it didn't work out. The finances, you know, I mean, I'm not a pedal builder. I mean, I'm not an equipment manufacturer, nor am I a retailer. So that's kind of what that show's for. So it's not really for me, even though it would have been fun, for sure, to go. But yeah, I thought I would do a little stream from here and talk about some of the gear that I've seen from the NAMM show that I am very excited about. And I would love to hear what y'all are excited about. Probably the coolest thing I've seen so far is that Chase Bliss preamp with like moving faders. I don't know if there's, let me see if I can find a link to it. Obviously like Chase Bliss has been doing like some of the coolest stuff with pedals for a long time. I just got my first Chase Bliss pedal. Chase Bliss Instagram. They've been posting some stuff about it. Yeah, here it is. Let me just link to that. I will put it in the comments here. Check that out, you guys. That thing looks so cool. It's basically a programmable preamp with moving faders. And I mean, I'm a studio guy, so I love moving faders. It looks amazing. I do have a few pedals on the way from a couple companies that have released things for NAMM. I just demoed this guy. This is the Source Audio True Spring. See if it'll focus on it there. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. There it goes. This is a reverb and tremolo, spring reverb and tremolo pedal. And really cool. The way the Source Audio guys do it is they just have really, it's a digital pedal, but it has some really cool like functionality and stuff with like a phone app, which is kind of wild and might make you sort of, you know, raise your eyebrow a little bit, but it's so easy to like recall presets and stuff, and it just sounds really good. So look forward to that one coming up soon. Can you hear that guitar? Let me know if the volume of the guitar versus the volume of my voice is looking good or not. Let me make sure I can see the messages from you guys too. View on watch page. There we go. And I want to make sure it's muted, which it is. There it is. Yes, yes, yes. And yeah, cool. Nope, that's not right. Cool. Great. Have you guys ever been to the NAMM show? Has anyone here ever been there? And if so, you know, was it fun? I got a message from a friend of mine after I was posting about whining about not going to NAMM, and he was like, don't go to NAMM, it's the worst. But I think I would have quite a lot of fun because I'm a total gear nut, and it would be fun just to boot around and play all the new things, and you know, just hobnob with the with the people, get to meet some people, have some fun. But yeah, let me know if you guys have been there, or if you are into it. I'm going to try to go next year to NAMM, but we'll see. We'll see if that happens. This is my Telecaster. This is my probably #1 guitar for playing demos, just because it's my most universal sort of sounding guitar. And I really like it into the 2 amps. It's cleaner than just going into my Jackson. It's still like... You can still hear the Jackson like breaking up a little bit, but it gives me a little more leeway. And then it's still like, you know, totally rages if you put a broadcast on or something. Ah! Sorry, I was not looking at the live chat. Dang it, I'm so new to this. Hey man, Sweet Overdrive. Greetings from Argentina. Benson and Chase Bliss preamp. The Sewer PT15. Josh says, I haven't been there, but my friend went. Think meeting people and hanging out's the best. Hey, everybody, now I can see your messages. I was looking at Top Chat before. Not live chat. What a fool. What an idiot. That's me. Hey, guys. Glad to see you here. Glad to see you. Some new people, some old regulars. Glad you're here. Would love to hear if you guys want me to try anything. Like I said, I just got this Mattoverse inflection point in the mail. This is a loaner, but he sent me some case candy that I'm keeping, which is like a mug. Make noise, not war. And like a little tote bag and some stickers and stuff. Not sure if he meant for me to keep that, but I think I'm just gonna keep it. But this thing is pretty cool. It's this tremolo. Now you can also do vibrato with it. And then you can change sort of your wave shape over here, which is sort of cool. Pretty cool, right? I've also got my Gravitas here. Great sounding. I don't think there's a better tremolo. This one is great too. Hey, I'm not trying to play favorites, but the Gravitas, it's hard to beat. Yep. That thing's cool. I'm loving that. I'm loving this chime, which I recently got. You know, you guys probably saw the demo of that one. it is, just dry. Here's clean tone. They just came out with a version 2 of that chime, which is looks pretty cool. I'd actually talked to the guys at Petty John, and there's some like internal voltage that's different, and it's like yeah, it's really cool. Improvements under the hood and stuff. Oh yeah, by the way, cheers. This is a gin and tonic. Cheers to 2019. What do you guys have planned for this year? I'm very curious. I'm going to do a bunch of stuff with this channel. I mean, you know, and I hope to grow the channel and expand. You know, I want to do more stuff with pedals and guitars and stuff, but I also, you know, before I was a total guitar nerd, I was a production guy, and I still am. It's kind of more my day job, and I mix and I do mixing and engineering and stuff like that in the studio, and I love sort of sharing about that world. And you know, it all fascinates me, honestly, the science of sound, and so I love getting, you know, tweaky and crazy with pedals and stuff, because that's just like there's so many options, and we're honestly living in like a paradise of options when it comes to pedals, and seeing all these new things people are coming out with is like it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like I don't know if it's things we have available to us nowadays, and it seems like there are more and more pedal manufacturers, and there are more and more people doing cooler and cooler things. It isn't like it's like a I don't know what the word is, the era. It's like an explosion of creativity in the pedal world, and so I don't see it slowing down in the next, you know, several years. Maybe it'll get so saturated that people will get sick of it or whatever and want to go back to just plugging a guitar straight into an amp, but I sort of doubt it. With everything everyone's coming out with, it's just like it's like not only for, you know, not only because it's popular, but because it inspires people to make, you know, different sounds and different kinds of music and stuff. So I'm very inspired by everything that's been coming out. Supro, Bliss, and True Spring claim to have harmonic tremolo. Maybe a comparison. That would be fun. Let's do it. Hey, I got all three of those. First of all, does everyone know what harmonic tremolo is? I explain this a lot, but still some people are confused about it. A normal tremolo is when you are modulating your volume up and down. It's basically like taking your volume knob and turning it up and down like this. Right? That's a normal sort of amp or like bias tremolo, tube tremolo. It's just in an amp, it's varying the voltage to the tubes, so they're giving it more and more and less voltage, so it's giving it more and less volume. Now, harmonic tremolo modulates it splits the signal into upper frequencies and lower frequencies, and a frequency is frequency is another word for pitch. So it's low sounds, low parts of the sound, and then higher frequencies in the sound. So basically low end and high end. It splits the signal into lows and highs, and then modulates them alternating to each other. So it modulates the high frequencies up when the low frequencies are down, and it modulates the low frequencies up when the high frequencies are down. So yes, indeed, all three of those pedals do harmonic tremolo. Let me see if I can dial something up on the gravitas here first. So we're going to go to harmonic mode. I'm going to crank this tone up. And I'll try to kind of get a similar sound on all three pedals. You know, I don't actually know if that Bliss and True Spring. Yeah, I don't think this one does. The inflection point does not do harmonic, but So you can hear if I slow down the rate here. So it's modulating those high frequencies up when the low are down and vice versa. So it has sort of a wah 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 kind of phasery sort of effect, wah wah effect. Pretty cool. That's the Chase Bliss. Let's all remember that tempo. Wah, 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 wah. Let's try the Supro. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to plug this in. Got the Supro right here. We're muted here, so we're okay to unplug this. Everybody's 9 volts, so this is happy to receive a 9-volt adapter. And I'll get the input going in there. And that should turn on. There it goes. This Supro one is kind of interesting. It's got this gain knob that's sort of like, it's kind of like, it's like saturation and overdrive within the pedal itself. It's not like a boost. A lot of tremolo pedals have a boost, actually, because if you think about it, if I'm turning something down and turning it up, the net result of that is going to be, your ear's going to hear it as quieter than if the tremolo wasn't on. And so typically you'll have a boost to kind of get it up to a perceived same level as when it's on as when it's off. But this one, it's more of like an overdrive within the pedal, and it doesn't boost, it just saturates within the pedal, so it kind of emulates like a tube tremolo being like driven hard or something. But here we go. There's dry. This is a lot simpler. I don't have a camera on the Gravitas, but it has a million knobs and switches, you know, and options to it. But this one sounds great. It might be a little more dramatic, kind of overall, sort of by default anyway. And then this gain knob, let me turn this thing up. Go all the way up with it. Woo! That's pretty gnarly, isn't it? What do you think? Which do you like better between those two? We got one more too. That Supro's great. It's like, it's kind of a it's like a no-brainer type of thing. It just sounds good, and there's only a few options on the thing. You got depth, gain, speed, and then this amazing switch that switches you between harmonic and amplitude tremolo. Let's get a close-up here. Where is it going to focus? There we go. Really cool looking pedal. It's actually really thick. It's really tall. It sits up taller than most pedals. But it's I love their graphics and just their whole aesthetic. Looks very cool. Okay, number 3. Here we go. The True Spring. This is the digital one. The other two are analog. This is digital. Meaning we're converting to ones and zeros here. And like I said before, this got a lot of options. Plenty of options. But it's also just kind of cool right out of the box. It sort of just works. I'm going to turn off the... So I'm turning off the reverb mix just to go to just tremolo here. Let's see. I don't know if I can do this or not. Let me see if I can. If I can only... I might have to hook up the foot switch. Okay, give me 1 second. I think I got to hook up this little foot switch in order to activate the tremolo. You know, it's a little more complicated than the other ones. It comes with this little foot switch here. This little, like, Source Audio tap switch. And hopefully it'll come alive here once I hook that up. It's a little 1/8" cable that you hook up to this thing, and then you can control the tremolo with that. There we go. There it is. So I can turn the reverb off by hitting that, and the tremolo is still on. So that's the opto mode. I think in the middle is harmonic. Maybe? Maybe not. There you go. There we go. There's the harmonic. And wow, 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 wow. You know it's harmonic if it goes wow, 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 wow. Yeah, single notes is more present. It can be pretty subtle harmonic tremolo. You can set it to like a low depth. And it can be, you can use it as a real subtle sort of, you can barely tell that's there, but versus, you know, pretty cool. They're all pretty cool. That's with the depth all the way up on the Source Audio. Sadly, I prefer the Chase Bliss. Why is that sad? Because it's the most expensive? Yeah, it's by far the most expensive one. I mean, honestly, for good reason. The minute I plugged it in, I was like, holy goodness. It is just, it's like, why is something that's just turning up and down volume just so good? But it is. Here we are back at Chase Bliss. The Gravitas, I can change the wave shape on the front end of the wave and the back end of the wave separately. So, for example, here's a sine wave on the front part. No, a triangle wave on the front and a square wave on the back. Here's like a square wave on the front and a sine wave on the back. So you can, it's like the sky's the limit with that thing. I think I posted my review of it, didn't I? Maybe I didn't yet. Have I edited and posted that one? Maybe I haven't. I thought I had, but maybe I haven't. It is amazing though. It's it really is so good, and they have figured out something there. They're my homies. They're not. I don't know them personally, but they're from Minnesota, so I feel a kinship with them because that's where I'm from. Originally, now I'm in Seattle, and it is real rainy here. You know. Cool, you guys. Hey, welcome. Any new people? Harrow Glop, we got Russell Hay, we got Joshua Phillips. We got Adam Sternke. I know him. We got Josh Firlate. Don't know how to say your last name, but you are one of my regulars, so thank you, Joshua Phillips. Ignacio from Argentina. You still there, Ignacio? Ignacio. Encarnacion. Milkman. I heard a couple clips of that Milkman amp. It's like it's called the HR15 or the HT15 or something like that. Yes, built-in harmonic tremolo. It is to die for. It sounds just like perfect right out of the box. I would definitely buy that amp if I was in the market for an amp. I've got 2 amps, and I'm thinking about actually, I've got them in my closet here, and it's a risk of fire, to be honest with you guys, because they're combo amps and they just get hot, and I've thought about getting a head and cabinet, so I can put the cabinet in the closet. The cabinet won't get hot. Speakers don't get hot, but amplifiers and tubes get hot. Keep the amp out here and, you know, open the window when I need to or whatever, and I would be safe from harm. That's my next thought, maybe. But I just got that humdinger, and playing through these 2 amps is just like... I don't know if you guys were here when I muted one and then played the other one. I'm gonna do that again. Here's just the Supro. Here's just the Jackson. I love doing this because they sound so different. And then here they are together. Yeah, harmonic tremolo is sort of trendy lately. I think people have like figured out what it is. It's existed for a long, long time, obviously, but I think more and more people are using it, and it's really great. It's like if you're playing like an open mic or something like that, instead of bringing an acoustic guitar, bring an electric guitar with a harmonic tremolo, and just put it on like a dual. I'm gonna go dual sine waves here, or no, I'm gonna go sine wave, triangle wave. I'm gonna mellow out my depth and my rate. Put a little delay and reverb on that. Why wouldn't you? Like a little spring reverb delay. It makes simple little things sound more interesting when you. I mean, that's what I like about effects is you can bring a whole range of feelings and emotions, and it can inspire you when you're writing music as well as performing it. I mean, I like having effects for writing just as much as for performing, and you know, having all this gear sort of inspires you to write different things and whatnot. But another really cool thing I have seen is Anna Sounds, who makes the Savage, which is the clone that I have. They just came out with an analog spring reverb. Now, analog reverbs are very hard to do because the only way to do it is either with, you know, some kind of cascading delay, almost like a you know, a memory man. With a memory man, you can kind of get a reverby sort of effect, but then the only other way to do it is with like real springs. And what they've done is they have an external like spring unit. So they have these springs that can go underneath your pedal board that then connect to like a controller pedal. And one of the coolest things about spring reverb is you can kick the springs and they make that sort of sound. Anyway, I am dying to check that out. So I'm gonna beg them to send me one to review. We'll see. Do you hear the amps through monitors or direct from the speaker? When I demo, I hear them through my monitors. Right now, I'm hearing them only in my ears because when I demo, I go back and mix the audio, and I mute the shotgun mic, which is recording live. I didn't want the guitar coming through the monitors. I wanted like a clean signal coming from the guitar. So I'm going into my preamps and then into Pro Tools, and then I've got my left-right mix out of Pro Tools into my camera, so that way you can still kind of hear the acoustic volume of the strings because I'm right here next to this microphone. If I mute my microphone, you'll hear just the two guitars here. So you can hear the difference there. You're getting a little sort of string sound there, but I think it sounds decent. How's it sound? Does it sound okay? I hope it sounds good. Yep. Yeah, good gear. Good gear's expensive. You know, I always say buy nice or buy twice. That's held very true for me. Buy nice or buy twice. Cheers, you guys. Sounds good. Thanks, Harrow Glop. Is that your name? Harrow, first name Harrow, last name Glop? And where are you from? This one went out of tune. Let's try another guitar. Not that it's, you know, permanently out of tune, but... Let's try this one. You know, I feel like I'm excited about this guitar, but other people are not as excited as I am about it. From Spain, welcome. Bienvenidos. Mucho gusto. I'm going to tune this thing. I got this on a trade. A buddy of mine, David, gave me a guitar as partial payment for a record I'm doing for him, which was nice of him. And I was supposed to sell them, you know, to get money to live. But instead, I sold one of them and traded the other one for this to a local guy. I saw there's a guy named Chris Buck, who's a YouTube guy, popular YouTube guy from the UK. Or he's actually from, he's from Wales. And he's just great. He's like sponsored by Yamaha, but he plays these guitars, and they're pretty inexpensive. You know, $400 or $500 guitars. And I used to have, this is P90 pickups, and I used to have a P90 guitar, and I sort of miss it. This one is really dark. You can tell it's a lot darker than the Telecaster. But it does have this push-pull switch here that kind of cuts the low end. But yeah. That's just a color difference. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. Another thing about live is I can't edit out all my mistakes. The truth is I'm not a great guitar player. You guys probably figured that out. I do okay. But I'm a jack of all trades, you know. That's just a color difference, darker versus lighter. Telly's white. Yeah. Adam's trying to be funny. Darker in tone. Yes, darker in tone. It's got a lot hotter output too than the Telecaster, which, you know, you could expect. There's my Seraph chorus. Yeah, I like it. I like it. I did a little setup on it. I think I'm going to swap out the nut on this guitar. The nut is plastic. And I think the strings are kind of digging into it. And it's making it even darker than it would be. And then maybe switch out these tuners here for some nicer tuners. I think the tuners are slipping. So it's causing tuning instability. Oh, are we in focus? Yes, we are. We figured it out. It's just low quality. Hopefully the quality is good. It seems like it's going in and out here of good quality. But when I did more studio stuff, I would drastically change EQ when we were switching guitars. I'll still do that, but it's kind of interesting for, you know, somebody who's, if you're switching guitars when you're playing live, just between the neck pickup and the bridge pickup, like on a Telecaster, I would cut like so much top end or boost like a ton of top end depending on what pickup you know, we're playing through on a record, and it sort of makes me think like guitars are so different sounding. I mean, that sounds so different than the Telecaster, just like straight in bridge pickup. That's like so much darker. And you know, it would be really cool to have something that sort of equaled out that tone discrepancy a little bit. I'm kind of wondering if that Chase Bliss preamp with its different presets could sort of be like for different guitars. That'd be an expensive pedal to have to only do that job. But it would be sort of cool. I would like to be able to do that because I like the freedom to do that in the studio. Like if I was recording this guitar, I would just go over to the preamp and the EQ and just turn up the top end and, you know, cut some of the low end or whatever. I mean, let's do that right now just for kicks. So cutting some low end, boosting some top end, boosting more top end, and still kind of dark, isn't it? Let's boost even more. It's like, that's a drastic difference in what I'm doing with the EQ. So just depends on what guitar you're using. That's where I was for the Telecaster. Cool, you guys. Hey, want me to play through anything else? Maybe I'll play through this. Let's play through this 1981 here. Let me put this guitar down. This thing's cool. It's kind of the hot overdrive on the block right now. It's basically a Rat, but sort of a supercharged one. A supercharged Rat. Let's check this thing out. This is the Proco Rat over here. This is a 90s reissue big box version. I've got this little pedal adapter here because it takes a strange plug, this like little 1/8 inch, or I don't even know if it's not a subtle overdrive. It is a crazy one. And we're going to hear that right now. But the 1981 is kind of a take on the Rat. Actually, let's go back to the old Telecaster. Hear it. A little more universal sounding guitar. Still figuring out that Rev Star. I got a love-hate relationship with it. But mostly I love it, and I want to love it. I want the world to love it too. I want you guys to love it. I'm just going to tune this up really quick before I play through this. Where do you prefer to change the EQ of the sound? Pickups, choice, pedal EQ. Oh, wait, the sound? Pickups, choice, pedal EQ. Yep, mic preamp. All of the above, honestly. I usually don't. I don't change pickups for the EQ necessarily. Although you know, sometimes if I want a darker thing, I'll go to the neck pickup. But I like the quality of the neck pickup, the timbre of the neck pickup, or the timbre of the bridge pickup, or you know, both together. Both together kind of have that syrupy, soupy, mid-range kind of thing. The bridge on a Telecaster anyway has that barky. But I might want the timbre of the bridge pickup, but I want it darker, you know, so you roll down your tone. That's very different sounding, even though it's about the same brightness as like the neck pickup. And the neck pickup's got this sort of throaty. I mean, both the bridge pickup and the neck pickup on a Telecaster are sort of unmistakable. I would say that I could probably pick them out even if I wasn't looking at, you know, if someone was just playing on a guitar, I think I could pick out a Telecaster bridge pickup and neck pickup. Same with the Strat, and those in-between positions, especially on a Strat, you can hear that sort of out-of-phasey, interesting sort of sounding thing. Let's hear this thing, though. Watch out. Yep. Nasty sounding 1981. It's fun. I don't play a lot of that kind of music, but it's fun to play though sometimes. I wanted to also show you guys this well, let's check this out. This is so that Chase Bliss pedal that I'm saying is so cool is made in cooperation with Benson, who are amp builders, and they make this pedal called the Benson preamp, which I have demoed on the channel before. Just nasty. Really high quality, like boosty sort of tones. There are no diodes in there, so it's kind of all this transistor based overdrive, which what all that means is it compresses less. It sort of is more open sounding, which is why they call it a preamp and not like an overdrive. But that Chase Bliss pedal is called the Preamp Mark II, and it's made by Benson and Chase Bliss. So what I'm kind of assuming is they started here. They started with the guts of this Benson preamp, and then they put it in. They're using Chase Bliss's crazy digital technology, and spreading the settings out over these faders that can then be automated. And I also saw buttons for like fuzz, like silicon, and I think different fuzz types are open or gated fuzz. So they've started where this has started, but just like the sky's the limit, seems like with that thing. That would be crazy cool to play with. I was joking on Instagram, or just postulating that the price of that thing's got to be well over $500. Moving faders in a pedal. I mean the Benson preamp pedal is $250, I think, just for this. Put that in a giant. That box is huge too. It's bigger in person than it is than I thought it would be, looking at the videos and stuff. Because I've seen a couple people playing it, like that pedal show guys were playing it at the NAMM show, which I didn't think they were going, but the last minute they decided to go. But it looks like they're just kind of walking around with their phones and having fun and stuff, rather than making a ton of video content, which is cool. But those guys are, heroes, so I wonder how reliable it can be with those faders. Yeah, that's what I thought of too. Like, is the fader going to break? And then also just like, what if somebody steps on it? What if I step on one of those faders? It's like having a mixing console on the ground or something. That is one thing I thought when I saw those faders move. I was like, ugh. Don't spill your beer on it, or your gin and tonic. But, yeah, I'm sure that'll happen at some point. But I still want one. At least to play with. Do I need one? No, I don't need one. But I want one. Cool, you guys. Hey. Hey, I thought about doing a giveaway. Hey, you guys can give me some honest feedback here. Do you guys like giveaways? And if you do, what do you like being given? I thought about giving away some free merch from my band. You guys are probably like, meh, about that. But then I also thought about giving away a pedal or two. That might be cool. You can get the new preamp and give me your old Benson one. Deal. Yeah. If they send me that, they're not going to send me that. They haven't sent me anything. They're so nice. I'm surprised anyone sends me anything, to be honest, just because, I don't have that many subscribers yet. And, I'm working on it. I'm trying to get over that 2,000 mark. I'm almost there. I'm at like 1915 or something. Adam's looking for camera gear. Amps. Yeah, I apologize for the lateness of my reply. There's a little delay from when I ask a question to when I think you guys hear it. But yeah, amps, camera gear, sure, no problem. That would be great. I mean, wouldn't it? But I thought about giving away a pedal. I might give away either this Wampler Tumnus. Have you guys seen this thing? This is a clone, one of the best. Let's focus on it. There we go. The Tumnus. Who's interested in the Tumnus? How many votes do we have for me to give away the Tumnus? It's a small pedal, but it's mighty. Or here's another option. The Love Pedal Amp 11. This is a vicious overdrive with boost. The boost is like a bias control on here. So it's super saturated and nasty sounding. And this thing is awesome. It hurts my heart to give away things because I'm like, well, I want this pedal. But it might be fun if you guys are into it. You speak about what you're hearing, talk about it with a bit of context. Thank you for saying that. I've thought about not doing that. But I think that's one of the things that maybe makes my channel unique is that I talk about the pedal. And I like talking, obviously. But I think, a lot of times when people hear something, they're like, oh, that sounds good, but I don't know why I like it or whatever. And give away some picks. But that's what I like doing. I like kind of analyzing and breaking down what is it about this pedal that I like and what is it that I don't like or what is it that I would use or how would I use this or what, where would I use this? And I like teaching sort of about pedals. For example, the difference between something like this Benson preamp, which is like, as I said, very open sounding, very, there's no diodes in it. It's all transistor based. Turn it on. You hear the dynamic of the sort of pick attack. Let me turn off this compressor just to get all the... It sounds like an amp that's cranked up. It sounds like amp overdrive rather than like pedal overdrive. Something like that versus something like, even though I love both of these, but this Benson Sidecar. This is a like a tube screamer type of pedal. It's like the best tube screamer you can imagine. This Sidecar. I love this thing. Let's just check our settings here. Yeah. Okay, so what you just heard versus... There's my dry. Turn this sucker on. You hear how like the overdrive of that one is so much, it's like tighter and it's like closer together. If I crank up the drive even more, kind of starts cutting the low end. I can adjust treble and bass here, but that kind of sound versus like, here's my broadcast, which is kind of more in the Benson preamp territory. here's that sidecar again. You hear the sidecar just compressing a lot more. It grabs the dynamics, and it kind of, you know, puts a little roof on it and doesn't really let it go anywhere. Whereas the broadcast is kind of wilder, and it's like the broadcast is working with my guitar more, and it's just like pushing a ton of volume, and then my amps are absorbing that volume and distorting, you know, the preamp section of the amp itself. And so that's kind of maybe the main difference between those two type of overdrives. But I mean, all that being said, I love this thing. This thing is amazing sounding. My favorite 808 style overdrive, Tube Screamer style overdrive. So yeah, I love it all. That's the thing. The more gear I demo and the more things I do, the more I'm like, I love everything. There's a time, and that's why I'm never gonna give a bad pedal review, because I don't think, and it's not because I'm not being honest. It's because there's a use for everything, right? There's a use for it. That, you know, I might demo a super heavy, you know, distorted kind of crazy sounding overdrive that might not be my cup of tea, but it doesn't mean that that pedal is not made well, you know, or whatever. And most people who are making things nowadays, things are made really well, and you can use, I mean, the minute you say this can't be used for XYZ, someone's using it for that. So even like the, I don't remember what it was I was demoing. Maybe it was the 1981. It was something that was a little heavier kind of overdrive, and I was like, well, you can't really use this for like pretty and ambient stuff. But then I like dialed in a pretty ambient tone with it, and I was like, well, maybe you can. So, you know, especially if that's the only overdrive you have, you know, necessity's the mother of invention. Before I had all these pedals, you know, I tweaked a lot more settings on amps themselves and tried different guitars, and you know, that was fun too. And part of me misses that too. I never touch the amps anymore. I mean, yes, I do, but I'm fiddling with pedals a lot more nowadays than I am with amps, which I did a little bit more back in the day. Yeah, there's something special about that, just kind of getting the sound out of the amp itself. So, yeah. Let's hear one of those giveaway pedals. Which one you guys want? You guys want the Amp 11, or you want the Tumnus? Let's hear this Amp 11 here. This is probably the more, oh, nope, dropping things. It's probably the more interesting of the two, in terms of not that many people maybe know what this thing does. The Klon thing is the Klon thing, you know. The Klon thing's the Klon thing. You guys have Klon pedals? Who has a Klon? I understand why, but it's still frustrating not to have bad reviews. I get that. Yeah, I understand that. I let the tone speak for itself. You know, I'm never going to whatever, dress up the sound to make it sound, you know, better somehow than it just sounded through my rig. And, you know, my amps sound great, my guitars sound great. So if you don't like the sound coming out of the pedal, then hey, don't buy that one. But yeah. Hello. Here's the Amp 11. This is one of those things, like if you crank this boost all the way up, this is a bias control, so that's why it makes that sound. That's not like, nothing's broken. That's just, that's what it sounds like when you change the bias. So I'm changing the bias, which I don't totally understand what that is, but basically the effect of it is it just saturates more. So it's not like, it's not boosting volume. It's saturating the internal components more when I turned it up. So if I crank that bias, like hit a single note. Thing's nasty sounding. Let's try that tumness. The tumness is a clon. I did a clon shootout. Did you guys see that? I had a real clon that I borrowed from my friend Brian. I had a real one, and then I had the tumness, and I had the Anasound Savage, and then I had a J-Rocket Archer. And yeah, they all sounded great. But I think the tumness was actually the closest, especially gain-wise, to the original clon. So the clon and the clon type pedals are very powerful pedals. If you have, especially if you have an amp with any headroom in it. That's dry. Turn this on. Woo! Let's turn on the Savage. Get like a similar sort of tone. Here's the Savage. Here's the tumness. I'm gonna turn the gain down on the Savage a little bit, the output up. That's the tumness. Savage. There we go. Back to the tumness. Different strokes for different folks, but they are in the same ballpark for sure. This thing gets it done, man. This tumness. It's basically a clon with more low end. There's more low end in it. And you can't, the only thing about it is you can't get rid of the low end. The clon thing cuts the low end. When I demoed those 4 clon type pedals, the real clon had the least low end of all 4 of them. And so I think, you know, for better or for worse, that's just one of the things it does. It's a mid boosty overdrive. That's what the clon thing is, mid boost overdrive. But the tumness does an amazing job of it, honestly. I replaced the tumness with the Savage on my board because I liked the little bit more open top end of the Savage. But honestly, you're splitting hairs to make any difference between the two. So, yeah, yeah. So maybe the tumness, you know, might be fun. Might be fun to give it away. This is a powerful pedal. This is a pedal that is universal. You could use it in, seriously, any style of music. A lot of people use it as an always-on thing. If you've got an amp that has a lot of headroom in it and you want to just, you know, push a little bit of grit into it and you're not getting that out of it. So, like, if you got a Hot Rod Deluxe or a Twin Reverb or something that you don't really like the way that it overdrives, put the tumness in front and leave it always on. You could even work your volume a little bit. I like doing that. You know, if I have my, like, let's say I got my chime on here. Let's turn this off. So here's straight in. There's the chime. Bring down the volume. There's your clean tone, you know? You could do a show, you got one pedal. You got the chime, and you got like a timeline or something. I mean, that's pretty different, you know. I like overdrives that when you bring down your volume, it retains the top end. Not every overdrive does that. I don't know what it is about certain ones that do that and certain ones don't. But the chime does. Surprisingly, the 1981 does that. You can bring down your volume, and it like cleans up really nicely. This one, the Ohm by I'm gonna say their name wrong. I said MZO, but I think it's Mezzo. This is Mezzo Effects. Justin, my buddy from Mezzo Effects, sent this over. Stoked to check out his new one, which is called the Blue. Really transparent, sort of beautiful sounding overdrive here. But yeah, you can't do it on every overdrive, and I don't know what it is about the components in, you know, certain overdrives that make them do that or not. But that's what I like, because I feel like you have so many options, you know. That's like a beautiful clean sound, and that's just my volume down a little bit, going into that chime. Who doesn't like that? Jeez Louise. What do you think about using an EQ pedal as a clone booster? With the EQ, you can shape the tone and boost. Is it not what the clone does? Yeah, the clone is effectively, it is an EQ. It's an EQ boost gain. It does have gain to it, you know, as well. So if I kind of crank the gain on here, it will saturate as well as boost. So you got gain, level, and tone. Turn this on. That's a little more dramatic. So usually when a pedal has a gain control on it, the gain control is sort of the character of the pedal itself. And then tone, obviously you're just, you know, making it brighter or darker. And then level, you're giving your amp more or less level. And so a lot of times I really like the way my amp overdrives. So I will have the gain sort of low so that it doesn't completely change the character, where, you know, if I have the gain way up here and I go from like, you know, like playing here, kind of this barky mid-rangey thing, and then I step on this pedal. I mean, maybe that could be cool sounding, but you know what's better is bring the gain down, bring the volume up, right? Wait, where's the volume? It's down here. Bring the level up. You know, tone maybe there. That is a much more acceptable to our ears sound, because it's closer in timbre, in the tonal shape of it is more similar to the clean sound. Kick on the pedal, we're in the chorus now. Now it doesn't sound like an effect, it just sounds like more, you know, and so it's like being really purposeful with, I'm going to step on this pedal right now because it's going to do this. It's going to give me more mid-range. It's going to poke through a little bit. It totally depends on what part you're playing too. You know, if you're playing If you're playing a solo-y thing, that's going to be different. If you're on the neck pickup, that's going to be different. So that's why I like, I like knowing that. I like knowing that the Klon gain, when you turn up the gain in a Klon, it's going to cut the low end. It's going to boost the mids, and it's actually going to cut the top end too. So, you have this sort of focusy mid thing, and knowing that, you know then where you can use it, So it's like, oh, the Klon would be good for this, whatever. But honestly, just the sound of it at more subtle settings like that is just a nice sound, honestly. Let's chill out that level a little bit. Gain way down, maybe tone straight up. See what I mean by powerful? It really boosts the volume. Really dynamic. I mean, there's a good reason the Klon is a popular pedal. It's it's so useful, especially you guys when you get in a full band context, right? Because that's another thing, and one of the things about just playing by yourself in your bedroom and getting tones or whatever is it completely changes when you get in a band context. And here's the cheat sheet to how it changes, right? You will probably want, when you get in the band context, you will probably want less gain. You'll probably want a bigger volume boost between your different gain settings. So if you're sitting in your bedroom, like getting sounds, and you go from your verse to your chorus, you probably need a bigger volume boost than you think you do. Get a big old volume boost going from verse to chorus. Boom. It should really poke out. And then you will probably also want more effect live than you do when you're just listening isolated, because you can hear every, when I turn on some effects here, I can hear everything. But right now I have my mix on my reverb and my delay at like just a little over 9 o'clock. And I usually run them more like here when I'm playing live. That sounds like that's so much effect, when you're just listening in the room, but totally depends on what kind of music you like to play. Of course, if you're doing more organic, rootsy thing that you don't want a ton of effects, but I love effects. Effects are amazing. Hey, any other questions before we sign off for today? Thanks so much for joining me, you guys. You guys are sweet. You guys are real sweethearts. This Tumnus, I think we'll give it away at the end of live, not from NAMM. Maybe on Friday or Saturday. You guys come back and we'll do a little raffle. Let's see if we can get some more people here. Would love that. You're welcome for your answers. Any other questions before we go? Last call. I'm going to take a drink. Cheers. Ooh. This is a cheap gin, New Amsterdam gin. Quantity, not quality. We literally have gin and tonics every night. I'm not sure if I should tell you guys that, but Tanqueray is my favorite. Empress Parametric EQ. Is that a pedal? They make some overdrives and stuff. I think I've seen that EQ. Maybe. I tried out a Frommel EQ pedal. I've never really thought to put one on my board because if it's on my board, it's kind of like that's what I want to use live. And then EQ, I have EQ on the computer if I'm recording, and I also have EQ on my preamp here. And just to be honest, the EQ in this is just better. It's just better sounding EQ. So no, I don't really think to use an EQ pedal, but I have, you can do a lot with them, especially if, you want to shape, like we were saying, like if you want to switch between guitars and kind of step on that one for the Strat, or whatever, or for the Starcaster or whatever, and cut the low end and boost the mids and the highs and things like that. But in general, I sort of like that guitars sound different. I mean, that's why we have different guitars, right? Is because they sound different. And I like kind of the fight of getting them to work in a mix and not having them all sort of sound the same. And I like being generous with EQ and with effects and getting things right on the way in, especially because honestly, this EQ is the best EQ like that I have. It's better than, I think it's better than ones I have in the box in Pro Tools. I have some nice ones in there too, but I really like this EQ. So if I can get it sounding, the best it can on the way in, I always do that. So I'm always EQing on the way in for sure. I EQ drums crazy on the way in and compress, and I EQ guitars. I'll EQ vocals, everything. I'm always EQing. Why not? Why not do that? I used to be afraid to do that, but now I'm like, why would you not want it to just sound better? Better is better. So, and if you can get it at the source sounding better, sort of like at the that's a reason to kind of switch out a mic too. You might, I have a Royer 121 on my Jackson, and then I have a E906 Sennheiser dynamic mic. So there's a ribbon mic on one guitar cab, there's a dynamic on the other. They sound wildly different from each other. The ribbon mic has a ton of low end and is very muffled on the top end. Like if you listen to it, So I compensate for that with brightness on my amp, where I make my amp brighter than I would if it was just in the room with me. And then I also add EQ and cut low too. It's interesting. Studio, API is a console company. They make recording consoles, and they make rack gear and stuff like that. And it's amazing sounding, but I think more and more of those companies are getting actually into the pedal game because they see that so many people are buying pedals. Chandler, which is another sort of studio rack gear, they actually have been around for ages. They made gear like EMI, like desks for the Beatles and stuff like that. I think back in the day it was the same company, but they're making pedals now too, which is really fun and interesting. Like I said, we're in the heyday, you guys, of like effects and pedals right now. We are in a Disneyland of, it's an embarrassing amount of crazy cool gear, and it is not slowing down. And it's getting more readily available, and it's expensive, but it's like it's available to you. It's not scarce, necessarily. It's like you can have it if you wanna sort of pay for it, and the sky's the limit. And that's fun. That's fun to sort of realize that we're living in this like crazy time of these pedal manufacturers. When I first started, like when I rebooted the YouTube channel sort of earlier this year, I was like, okay, I'm going to write down every pedal company that I can find, and I'm going to write to them, email them, and ask them if they would be interested in having me demo their pedals. And I stopped looking for pedal companies at like 200. I found 200 different pedal companies, and I keep finding new. I'm like, I haven't heard of that one. Haven't heard of that one. I'll see it. Someone links to something on Instagram, and it's like, well, that sounds amazing. Brown amplification. Now they're making, it's like a new one pops up every day, and instead of being like overwhelmed by that, I'm like, that's awesome. I think that's amazing. And it's kind of like the like when the way the music industry is going, how now you can have anything you want, honestly. As far as music, you can pay a monthly fee and you get any song you want. I think that's the way things are going, where access is getting widespread. Too many options, too small a paycheck. Yeah, it costs money, but yes. But if you really if something really inspires you, it's like, you know what? Save up for it, man. Save up for it. You don't need everything. You know, I don't need another overdrive pedal. I have 5 million of them. Honestly, I stopped asking for overdrive pedals from companies because I was like, it's everything. But I still enjoy to this day demoing anything, overdrive pedal, whatever. Hey, this one's different than this one. But yeah, there are a ton of options out there. It's a fun time to kind of be in this industry and be, you know, shooting the breeze with people like yourself. So, hey, thanks for joining me, you guys. I'm going to come back here same time tomorrow night, 6 p.m., and we'll do this again. This will be fun. I am going to sign off for now. Thank you for joining me. We'll see you guys then. Love you. Proud of you. Missed you.